Hello, this is the hardcore legend Mick Foley, and you are listening to Putting You Over. Yeah. Hello, this is the hardcore legend Mick Foley, and you are listening to Putting You Over. Yeah. Hello.
This guy's called the Standing Streamer. Real stand-up kind of guy.
Oh, that sounds a little better. Maybe it's just my headphones.
Hey, Ray Brian Zane from Wrestling with Regret, and you're watching Putting You Over.
All right, take two. Welcome. I'm the Standing Streamer. This is Putting You Over, and welcome everybody to the show. I'm going to walk around the front. I'm going to call Adam. And as soon as I see that we're connected, I'm going to then run back around here. And hopefully everything works. Hopefully.
Hello.
I'm coming. Can you hear me, Mr. Rotella?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Is there any chance I could see you?
Yeah. Did I not put the thing on?
Oh, there you are. Now you're on. Oh, there.
Okay.
Now I can see you. Look, oh, we both got our shades on.
Of course.
Of course. No, have it no other way, right?
I agree, my friend. I am hearing a echo.
Oh, am I hearing an echo?
Oh, I think that's my fault because I'm on the Twitch. This is my first time ever in the Twitch. I've never been in the Twitch before. I thought that I should wear like a sideways baseball cap or something because all the kids are cool in here, right?
Well, that's insulting.
That's not true?
No, I wear a forward baseball cap, and it's hold on, it's a I can't speak. Usually wear a forward hat, sometimes backwards, but I do get it. But so you've been in the Twitch chat and have not followed yet. You're definitely a kid.
I don't know how the Twitch thing works. I tried to write in the chat like you were giving me a hard time about it, and I said, all right, sure, no problem. Then it says I got to join something, and I'm like, I don't have time to join anything right now.
You must have just been watching. That's fine. It's not a big deal. But yeah, the Twitch, new to you. You're a YouTube guy.
Never seen the Twitch before in my life, my friend.
I like that we call it the Twitch. It demeans it. It's great.
Well, the Twitch, the Facebook, the Twitter,
the
Twitter device,
the Walmarts,
yeah,
the Targets.
Yeah,
I like
exactly. That. I like putting the in front of anything.
Makes you, the Standing Streamer, the
There
Adam Rotella, the
That's
10
right.
pounds of podcast.
That's right. What kind of beer are you having tonight? I'm going to join you and have a beer myself.
Oh, you should, because we're at the bar. Do you want me to get you one?
Please.
All right, hold on. Let me get you one.
All right. I hope that's what I was supposed to say. Is it like?
Here, let me see if I can hand it to you.
Oh,
Here.
perfect.
There you go. Yeah. Somewhere.
Right. Thank you.
Oh, yep.
All right.
Oh.
Perfect. Thank you.
Oh,
Hey,
look
there
at
we
that.
go.
We even
Perfect.
changed colors. My can was
Perfect.
green, and I only drink Rolling Rock. It's all I ever drink, and there's a great story behind it, but nobody actually really cares. So it is all I drink.
I was actually gonna ask why. Can you give us the Cliff Note version of why you only drink Rolling Rock?
Yeah, when I graduated high school and a long time ago in 1998, when I
Is that
graduated.
correct? That is correct.
That is correct. Thank you. We checked with our judges,
Yeah.
ex Jeopardy judges. When I graduated high school, we went out that night, like normal kids do and whatnot. And I clearly remember I had a 12-pack of Rolling Rock bottles. Now, don't get me wrong. I had my fair share of going out and consuming alcoholic beverages or daddy sodas before maybe I quote unquote was legally allowed, and I had different kinds. But for some reason, on that night, graduation night, the 12-pack of the bottles of Rolling Rock stuck with me, and I like the look of it. And people tell me it tastes like crap. I don't care. I keep drinking it. And now that I'm older, it saves me a ton of money because it's like the cheapest beer around. It's like $16 for 30 cans. Can't beat it.
That's fantastic. Dude, I used to drink blocks all the time, my friend. So I understand the buying blocks. You need me to turn up my light or anything?
No.
I think I look okay.
You look
all right.
you
All
look
right.
fine. You're great. We'll edit it all in post. If I feel
Okay,
like it.
all right. There's a green screen behind me if you want to put something crazy behind me in post then too.
Maybe, you know what? Maybe I could literally put you in my bar. I bet you I could do
There
that.
you go. Yeah, man, I bet you could.
I could totally do that. That would be fun. So it's ironic because I had to go through a handler. You have a handler. Did you know that?
I do have a handler. Yeah, of course.
Elder
You
Soul.
don't have a handler?
No, I can't get. Nobody wants to deal with me. They don't like me. Nobody likes me.
That's not true. That's not true. I've been on Busted Open, the super fan podcast or whatever the hell they call themselves over there. The Faniacs. I'm not sure. The Nationacs or something like that. They said that I was going to have a great time with you tonight.
Did they really? They talked highly about me.
They might have been high, but yeah, they talked highly of you.
Yeah, they're great people over there. And yeah, the Nation show, I heard they're bringing it back, and hopefully they can, fine tune their technical difficulties. But yeah, they're great guys. But no, I can't get anyone to handle my affairs, so I do it all myself.
Well, that's good, man. I mean, I don't think that anyone necessarily needs a handler, but it is very nice to have one.
Is Elder Soul in the chat said I never changed the graphic of Dave Chris. Is it changed now, Elder Soul? Because I really don't want to walk around at the front of the bar and fix it. I have the stream deck. I think I fixed it. We'll let him know. But yeah, I was supposed to have Dave Chris, Impact Wrestling, OVE. Supposed to have him on tonight. We fine tuned everything and got it all ready, and he was all good to go. And then I DM him this morning. Well, you heard me. I DM'd him this morning, and I got no answer. And I'm like, okay, all right, it's all right, I can handle it. I get these wrestlers. It took me forever to get Brian Pillman Jr. Forever.
Well, I'm sure that, that he was probably getting a haircut at the time, man. It probably takes 14 hours to cut that mullet.
Sure does. Speaking of mullets, I cannot wait to see what Zicky Dice's mullet looks like once we get out of this social distancing crap.
Well, first of all, I think I sent out a tweet like yesterday saying that barbershops are essential. I need the president to get on that immediately because my hair is getting out of control. I can only imagine Mr. Dice's. And not only does Mr. Dice need a barber, but he also needs like some kind of chemist to do something to the top of his hair. Those curls just don't. Those curls aren't that beautiful on their own, my friend.
No, they're not. And I'm curious to how he's going to work this because, if he defends that title, what is it, 7 times? He gets a heavyweight title shot. He's going to find a way to finagle himself into a title shot. I can feel it.
Well, I think Ziggy Dice should just start offering title shots to his dog Ric Flair at home, my man. The guys could have 6 wins already by now.
Yeah, exactly. Because I fight his broom, the dustpan, the refrigerator.
Exactly. I mean, hey, champion's choice, right? I mean, I think the guy can make his own matches. I think all he needs is a graphic.
Yeah, he's.
I think that's how Braun Strowman got the title shot. He was the first guy to make the graphic for WrestleMania.
That's what I've heard. I have heard that. I think it was. Where did I hear that? Somewhere. Someone overseas told me. I think.
Wrestling Days was making fun of that the other day. Yeah.
Yeah. First one. Big shout out to Wrestling Days. If you don't. Yeah. Ding. If you don't. If you don't watch him, look him up on YouTube and all that fun stuff. He's a great individual, and you've talked to him before. You've had him on your show, right?
All the time. I think I talk to Days on like a daily basis now, not through this, but definitely through Twitter, through DMs, stuff like that. I'm more of a fan of Days than I am of anything right now, actually, because everything is not going on.
No.
Days is the only one that's putting out that consistent content.
There's nothing going on. Like, recently, we'll get to the NWA, the 10 Pounds of Podcast. We'll get
Take
to
your time, my man. I got nothing but time tonight.
I got nothing better to do either.
Yeah, man.
So the NWA, they just released recently, what's his face? Stu Bennett. I wanted to say something else, but it's Stu. And the tweet came out, what they're planning to do in these next coming weeks in the current state. What'd you take away from that when you saw that tweet go out?
Well, I think that even Mr. Lagana came out recently, and he said that the NWA, for those of you that don't know, David Lagana is the vice president of the National Wrestling Alliance right now. And even David Lagana said that the NWA is not planning to run any shows without an audience. And, I think that that's a very good idea, because the studio audience of NWA is a major part of that Power TV show, man. So without that audience, the wrestlers have nobody to bounce off of. And that's one of the main things that make NWA Power so different from everything that else is out there on the landscape. I mean, you have these other wrestling shows that the hard camera side, there's no one sitting there.
Right.
These other wrestling shows are using people as a prop. They're using people as a prop for their wrestling programming. And the NWA, you're a part of the show when you go to NWA Power. And for anyone that hasn't been, oh my God, it is fantastic.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It is different than the other promotions in the fact that, like you said, the fans, the people in the audience, it is a studio show. They are just as much a part of a match or an interview or a promo as anyone else there. And the way the wrestlers do bounce off, the way they improv, and it just makes the show. So that does make sense to me that the NWA would not tape anything with nobody in the studio. But how long do you think they can do that for? Like, how long are they going to be able to, hold down? Like, for example, they showed Tim Storm and Josephus, the empty arena match. That match has been up on YouTube forever. And then they take it down, and then they announce, hey, we're going to show this. Like, how long can they do that sort of shenanigans?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily call it shenanigans, Mr. Streamer, if that is your real name. And I do believe that this is what if there is one company out there that can produce fantastic content during this time, it is the NWA. Because as we know, the NWA, when they had their rebrand 2.5 years ago, when Mr. William Patrick Corgan bought the brand, all that they were doing were these little tiny 8-minute documentaries for 2 years, trying to get people's attention again that, hey, this NWA thing is going on again. Hey, come and check out our YouTube page. So I think that the NWA can thrive in this time period right now. We just need to be able to get in our cars and go to places so that we can film people doing stuff. So I think that we're going to try to revert back to what the 10-pound of gold years were, my friend. And if anyone can succeed, it's going to be the NWA.
Yeah, I do look forward to. I'm waiting for that because the 10 pounds of gold, that series
Yeah.
by Lagana was groundbreaking, and it is
Yeah.
what brought things back, and that's I guess that's what I'm waiting for. I was just frustrated with the Josephus thing, and all that because it was just frustrating. But that's just me, and that's my qualms, as they would say.
Sure. Well, that's also content though that people that have come around to Power recently
Yeah.
had no idea even
you're right.
existed, man. Because
Yep.
when you're looking at the YouTube page, the first NWA Power has over half a million people have watched that, and then when you scroll down, only about 50,000 to 70,000 people have checked out 10 pounds of gold right now, and that might be a completely different audience that is out there. So I do enjoy the NWA bringing back these old pay-per-views like Crockett Cup, which they're showing. And I'm not sure when this is going live on YouTube, but it's either showing tomorrow or it happened on Sunday. So I think that that's a great job with them to introduce the crowd to that Nick Aldis Marty Scurll match, which I hope a lot of people take or took advantage of.
Yeah. I watched that the first time around, and it was one hell of a match. So I definitely suggest anybody who has not seen it, watch it. And I don't know either if it's. I thought it was today actually that it was going to be airing, but maybe it's tomorrow.
Sunday at 7:00 Eastern, my friend.
There you go. And this was supposed to be the weekend of the newest Crockett Cup.
It was, my man. We had tickets. We were ready to go. It was going to be, I thoroughly enjoy myself at NWA Power tapings just because it is such a small crowd, and you see the same people over and over and over again. So you do become friends with people there, and it is unfortunate. And this was going to be an event that was going to be in a 4,000 seat arena. I don't know how many seats they ended up selling. I think that, well, obviously we had to cut ticket sales short over a month and a half ago. So it is very unfortunate because this was going to be a level up weekend for the NWA.
Now, this week in wrestling in general, overall, I guess, was a rough week. The WWE,
Sure.
they had to let go like 30 something people.
And that's just the people that we know about, man.
Yes.
Like, who knows what's behind the scenes, the grips that got released, the cameramen that might be furloughed right now because they don't need people setting up. They don't need truck drivers right now. They don't need these things. So we don't even know the extent of the people that they let go.
Now, with that being said, it is a hard time not only for wrestling in the area of quote unquote expertise that we like to speak in,
Sure,
right?
yeah.
But for everybody in general, I just wonder, like, how are people like Ring of Honor, NWA, can they sustain this stuff? Like, how? I don't even know. I guess I don't know how the contracts work in NWA. I don't know who they pay. Like, do they have to pay rent for the GPP studios? Like,
Well, I think the way that the NWA runs their NWA Power shows is like how anyone would run an independent wrestling show. You pay people for that weekend, and then there's a few talents that the NWA do have on an exclusive contract. But I'm pretty sure by this point too, the NWA is thinking, or they've already done something about that. But the NWA is such a small office, and it's such a nucleus inside of that we don't really know who's on a exclusive contract. I do know that it's Nick Aldis. I do know that it's Eli Drake. Other than that, I'm not really sure what other people's contracts are at the moment. Yeah.
Right, exactly. I just would what I like to do is open all my beers before a show, and hope I don't knock them over. I picked that up from Stone Cold. Stone Cold does that in the Broken Skull session. They're all open. But
I just recently watched the Stone Cold Big Show Broken Skull session, and that was one of my favorite ones out of all of them, man, because that really showed how the Big Show, like how his thought process going through his wrestling career, and how I thought that was one of the best ones.
Really, I have not seen that one yet.
I think it's one of the better ones because you really see the not just the psychology in the ring that he used, but the psychology backstage that he had to use as well to get to where he was. So I highly suggest that one. It was one of my favorite ones.
I'll have to go back and watch it. I've been too busy watching the Big Show on Netflix. My kids love it. We breezed through the first season. I have 3 daughters, 10, 7, and 3. So,
oh boy.
Yeah, exactly. So
lots of tea time.
Yeah. And well, you know what? They're big into wrestling, Anna. I tell you what, they love it. And I say this a lot of times on the show. The older one, the 10-year-old, they all love wrestling. The 3-year-old though is in her own little area. But the 10-year-old and the 7-year-old are so different. The 10-year-old is so stiff. Like when I try to do wrestling and we play around, she's so stiff. Like she needs to go to New Japan. She needs to go directly to New Japan. The middle one can work like no one else, man. She can sell. She knows what she's doing. She can cut a promo. She can. It's unbelievable. And they're very athletic. They do gymnastics. They do all sorts of sports. And they're one of my 3 ladies will be a professional wrestler. Hopefully they all will. Ding, exactly. Hopefully they all will, and then I can like work my way into like a managerial role because I missed the boat, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That
I like it.
Yeah, I agree.
Sign him up. Book it.
Well, I've been trying to figure out. I talked to Thunder Rosa and I was trying to figure out when the best age is to literally start having them do sort of training. And she alluded to they're too young now, but as long as they're athletic, it's okay. I know I read some things on Charlotte Flair and she didn't train till a long time. She was athletic. She did volleyball and all this fun stuff. So it's okay for now. They do, man. They do love the wrestling.
Just change your last name to Flair, right to the moon, my friend.
That's my plan. Do you keep up? You're mainly NWA, but do you keep up with the other product?
Well, I'd say that since I found Wrestling Days, since we brought him up earlier, since I found Wrestling Days, I find myself watching a lot more wrestling now than I was in the last 2 years. Just because he makes it so much more enjoyable, that's so weird to say, but I've never really even knew what a live streamer was,
right,
or what one of these people do that watch the shows with wrestling. And then David Lagana put him on one of the beginnings of Power in the first season. Yeah. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll check this guy out. Doot. And then I just started laughing my ass off. I assume we can curse here.
Yeah.
And then I've just been So I'm pretty caught up on everything right now.
And Wrestling Days.
Even though I've never heard of those promotions, I've never heard of those promotions when I do my show. But yeah, I am pretty caught up.
He's really good, and I came across him. The first time I came across him was a YouTube video on a Firefly Funhouse theory, and that's it. Mm-hmm. And then I just kept watching him, and then I found he does live streams. But what's so cool with Days, and is what I like to do myself when I do a quote unquote watch along, which I don't do that much anymore, is or what's different is there's no video on the screen. Like you can't see the move, you can't see what's happening or anything like that. Like I know there are a ton of people on the Twitch that literally will put up, and they'll do it for Monday, they'll do it for Wednesday, they'll do it for Friday, that other promotion, those 3 days, in their pay-per-views and even other pay-per-views, they'll throw the entire show, the entire pay-per-view up. You'll see it. You'll see the full thing. And then their webcam down in the bottom corner, and they'll comment over it. whatever the
Yeah.
case may be, and nothing happens to them. And then there was one time on my stream, I put up a small webcam, a small box,
Mhm.
you know, smaller than us right now, and watched the show, and I cut in and out and comment on it, and boom, I got banned like that. So it's weird that some people are allowed to do that and some aren't, but I think those people are not creative, and people like Days are extremely creative and entertaining, and they don't need it. No copyright.
Yeah.
What does he put on his tweets? No copyright.
Right at the top, no copyright content included. And I think that he does that because at one point he did get flagged on Twitter.
Yeah, I asked him
and
that.
now he I mean, he doesn't need that.
No.
You know, there's people that watch his stuff. Actually, there was this blind lady who was just on the stream the other day, and she listens to Days because obviously she can't see what's going on, but she can feel the emotion that he has, and she can actually visualize what he's seeing because of the way that Days can, I don't want to say perform, but the way that Days just it explains and talks to us.
Yeah, I don't think he's performing. I think that's him, and
that's just him. Yeah, it's very authentic.
It's like you're sitting. I have 3 brothers, and wrestling was huge in my house as a kid, and that's literally what, like, there'd be 3 of us just like Days, just sitting watching WrestleMania 4, watching the tournament, you know, and that's what makes it great. But let's move on to you and what you're involved in.
Sure. I do stuff.
Yeah, you do a lot of stuff, and you're very busy, a very busy man. And
that's why I have a handler, Mr. Streamer.
That is right. I guess I don't do enough stuff. I need to do more. Here's what I've learned so far already.
Sure.
I need to do more. I need to get a handler, and I need to. I couldn't think of something funny off the top of my head, but yeah. So I'll get that. I'll get a handler somewhere, even if I have to create a fake Twitter account just to pretend I'm my own handler, then I'll do that.
There you go. How do you know that that's not what Elder Sour is for me?
That's a great point. That's a great point. But didn't is it Elder Sour? Didn't he have? Isn't he? God, how am I gonna say this without offending him?
He had brain surgery. Yes.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah.
See, you almost had me. See, you had me working the work. And speaking of working the work.
Sure. Go ahead.
You have the 10 pounds of podcast, but before we get to that, you used to do the NWA podcast. This is the NWA podcast. You and Gary used to do it.
Yeah.
And what happened? What made that switch from that to now the 10 pounds of podcast, where you're by yourself with your handler?
Well, I was by myself for 2 years before this is the NWA podcast.
That's true, because I ran into you before with kayfabe tees, which is coming back.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing about YouTube. You have to keep pivoting to what's going to work. That's what's going to work in business. That's what's going to work in life. If something isn't working at that time, you have to pivot to something else. Now, I was having if this is what we want to get into a little bit, I was having a great time with Gary, but we just had a little bit of different visions about where we wanted to take the podcast, different visions about how we wanted to produce micro content, how important posting all the time was and getting our message out there. And man, everyone's making changes right now during this time, and we just decided that this was the perfect time to make a rebrand for ourselves as well. So Gary kept the name, he kept the social, he kept the audio, and I just went back to 10 pounds of podcasts, and I'm happy to rebuild my brand around myself right now.
And that's, couldn't you guys? Well, I mean, it's a whole nother show.
You trying to have a little kumbaya moment here, Miss?
No, I was just wondering, like, couldn't you guys continue to push out the micro content and always posting? Like, couldn't you guys take both visions and mend them into one?
That's what we were trying to do that whole time, my friend.
And it just didn't pan out. So
Just
you made
different visions and different schedules.
different visions, and it is a lot of work. Trust me, and especially if you want to
Yes,
get out
sir.
all that content, it is
Yes,
a
sir.
ton. So you make the pivot to the 10 pounds of podcast, which you had before, and I remember running into you on Twitter before because I saw the kayfabe tees, and which I love the name. That's a great name, and I wish I
Thank
would have
you.
thought of it. And that will be we coming back out as soon as we all come back out. So
That's correct.
what can we expect from 10 pounds of podcasts that we couldn't just get from the NWA podcast?
Sure. Well, we're going back to 100% daily new content right now. So 10 pounds of podcasts is we have a daily show, which is NWA Coffee. It's an NWA morning show. It takes about 5 minutes to 10 minutes for you to watch. It's perfect for you to watch in the morning with a cup of coffee with me. So we have that morning show, and that's going to be coming out, geez, man, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And then we have the live chat on Tuesday night. We have 2 live chats on Tuesday night. One where I have a member of my audience come in and chat with me about the NWA, and another one after the show where I pretty much talk to the whole stream and everyone that's watching. And then we chat about the show. We have a good time. And then Wednesday, we're dark, so I can edit that, make that micro content to send out on YouTube. And then Thursday, Elder Sauer and I are throwing around some ideas right now. We try to keep the philosophy of the NWA of under promise, over deliver. So I don't really want to talk too much about what we're thinking about now, my man.
Keep it kayfabe.
Keep it, exactly, my man, exactly. Because another thing that I've realized about a lot of content creators out there is they love to talk about the content that they're making, but sometimes that content never comes out.
I know. I talked
don't
about
wanna be
Dave
one of
Chris
those
for a
people.
week, and I haven't gotten him once.
But that's not your fault, though, man.
No, it's
That's
not.
not your fault, though,
And
my
it's not
man.
his either. I'm sure he's got a great reason.
Exactly, man. Exactly. I love how it's obviously not affecting you this evening.
No.
And so that's what it's all about.
Got a
my
whole
man.
dry
It's all
erase
about-
board with notes. I got one note
I
on
love it.
you.
I
I got
love
one note on you, Adam, but we've had a great conversation. I will put that out there.
What did the note on me say?
No, I don't have any. I didn't put any notes on you.
You don't need it.
I don't need them.
it.
I
Yeah,
don't.
man. It's easy.
I don't need
This is
them.
what I do every single day. So, yeah, man, 10 Pounds of Podcast is all about that. And then we also have Working the Work, which now comes out weekly since I'm bringing out coffee every day. I don't want to bore people with my daily routine like I have been doing, but I do find it important for me to show my work because there's goals that I'm trying to accomplish, and I want how I got there to be documented.
I like my favorite thing that you do is Working the Work.
Thanks, man.
Not only do I like the title, the creative aspect of Working the Work, but I like that you're documenting your goals, and you want that down, and you know, I just enjoy that thoroughly personally.
Well, you know, man, there will become a time where that's all for me. Working the
Right.
Work is being made all for me right now because there is going to be a time when I want to look back on how I got to where I am. Now, I don't know where I'm going per se, but I do have pretty lofty goals. And when I do achieve these things, I want to look back at how I got there.
So
Working the Work is super. It's very me oriented.
I think it's actually your best stuff, personally.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Where do you want to go? What are those lofty goals?
Well, my man, you know, I've really had some realizations lately that it's going to take a lot of time to get hired by, let's say, the NWA. You know, I'm not doing all of this work not to get hired by the NWA. I'm not doing all of this work not to be inside the bubble of behind the curtain. That's where I want to be. I want to be on the train, my friend. And there's a few people out there that know exactly what that means.
Right.
And when that happens, that's why Working the Work is there. But in the meantime, we live in a very interesting time right now where I can make a living off of talking like this on a computer screen, talking about the NWA. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. I had a realization about 2 days ago that we really need to embrace my story and what I'm trying to do and try to build a brand and a business around myself right now. So that's the lofty goals.
Let's say you get a phone call tomorrow morning from MLW. Say they want you to do their backstage interviews and their pre-show, whatever the case may be. Is that something you're taking?
Well, my friend, if you want to work in the business, you have to take whatever you can to get a foot inside the business. I mean, there was a time where I was driving from Vegas to California just to get a 3-minute hello and handshake from David Lagana. So I'm not opposed to any opportunities. An opportunity is an opportunity, and that also doesn't mean that I cannot continue what I'm doing on YouTube as well. So I think that there's a lot of things out there, and there's a lot of people that do watch what I produce. So there's the sky's the limit right now, my friend, and we're just really starting to see that snowball start to move at least a little bit down this hill.
To the moon. Ding.
Damn right, my man.
What
Damn
what
right. See,
what is
and that's a great point too, that people understand that that's a saying that I love to have. People understand that about me now. People understand, like in your graphic, you even call me Mr. Rotella.
I did that personally.
No one anywhere calls anyone Mr. anything anymore. So the fact that people understand that I like manners, they like it that I'm called Mr. Rotella. They tell by my content that I call people Mr. this, Mrs. that. That means that this is working. That means that this is starting to work. So I'm thrilled by any opportunity.
Okay, I got a couple of questions for you, Mr. Rotella.
All right.
What is the actual bell for?
The bell can be for horrible jokes. That's what I use them for mostly. The bell can be for fantastic points, like you've had a few fantastic points tonight. The bell can be when I'm excited about what somebody says. The bell is anything.
Okay, cool.
And the bell is super over.
The bell is so it's like my smart button. We have a lot in common. It's weird because you have a bell. I have a smart button, which I hit at random times.
Yeah.
Like now it's chanting "Holy shit!" I don't know if you can hear it.
Yeah.
We both wear sunglasses. And I've been doing it for a long time. And that's the other thing. I didn't want, when we met and we interacted with each other, I didn't want it to come off as I'm trying to steal the gimmick. Because I used to wear them all the time. And it was weird. And the other thing that we have in common that I noticed a long time ago was you have a rotary phone. I don't know if you still have it in front of you or you used to. It's red, right? Yeah.
Of course it's red.
See? And I used to have one too. Or I still do. and the funny thing is, I love them. I love rotary phones. I have a phone right. You'll like this. I have a phone right here. I don't know if you can see it with the camera, but I'll pull it down.
Sure.
Right here. It's on the wall, and I gotta hold the thing down. It's you can't really see it. I can't tell. It's one that goes on the wall, but this one is from my grandmother's house. And literally from the phone company, from the bell company, they tried to take it. And what we did with it, what me and my wife did with it here was we put it up. It's in the bar and it's wired. It's like an intercom system now. That's why I had to hold it down when I took it off the handle.
Sure.
And so yeah. So I just wanted to clear the air with that. I wasn't stealing your gimmick with the glasses or the phones. I do have a thing for them.
You know what, man? What I find so interesting about anything like that, and YouTubers in general or content creators in general, the space is so huge.
Yeah.
It doesn't freaking matter.
It doesn't.
Folks. Like It's up to you to just find your audience. It doesn't matter what anyone does. I wouldn't mind if somebody came out and did the exact same freaking thing that I do, because I'm going to do it better than them.
There you go. It's just like playing basketball. I'm a basketball player. I played all my life. I will tell you what play I'm running. I will tell you what I'm doing. But because I can do it better and I'm going to execute it, you're not going to stop it.
See, there it is right there, Mr. Streamer, the execution. Like, all these people want to have these plans. Everybody has a plan, but it's the execution that matters, and that's why I'm going to get to where I want to get to. I have daily execution, as you've seen in Working the Work.
So tomorrow morning, you're going to, what's today's? Today's, we couldn't work together because I would crack up every time I heard that bell. So today's Saturday. So you're gonna wake up. What's a daily day look like for Mr. Rotella?
It varies, man. Especially right now when I got nothing else to do but make content.
Right, exactly.
But let's say that it's a day where I have my shoot job where I'm a bar back, and I'll wake up at probably 6:30, 7 o'clock. If the gym's open, I'll go to the gym. I'll work out. I'll edit Working the Work from the day before. I'll write. I'll be on the Twitter device very early, responding to tweets, responding to new followers, letting people know about the brand, stuff like that. And then I'll write NWA Coffee. I'll film NWA Coffee. I'll edit NWA Coffee. And then after that, I'll chop it up into micro content, which I schedule throughout the day on Twitter. And then I'll go to work, move around dirty dishes all night, come home, make sure everything's set up, and then I'll watch Wrestling Days.
Perfect. Now, that micro content, when you said that...
The only thing that I'm doing, I'm either making content or I'm watching Wrestling Days. That's all that I do. That's it.
And you're working, your shoot job.
And I'm going to the bar too, but I don't call that work. That's just what is paying me to stay alive right now.
There you go. Now, one of the interesting things I always enjoyed about what you do is the micro content. And one of the reasons I enjoyed it was I was like, oh shit, why am I not doing that? I do a lot of these interviews. I do a lot of different shows where I may say something, whatever the case may be. Is it worth it to cut up an interview to micro content? Also, you like I also put out an interview. Let's say I put out an interview. Is it also worth it for me to then cut up that interview and put that out as micro content?
Well, let me tell you why that is extremely important, because especially if you want to put that micro content out on YouTube per se. Like, let's say that you cut up this interview right now into micro content, and then you put the right tags underneath it. So you're going to get people looking up 10 Pounds of Podcast. You're going to get people looking up Adam Rotella. And the more content that you have out there on YouTube, the more chances you have for people to click on what you do, to at least give you a chance, to at least put you in front of their faces. I mean, this is a brick by brick situation when it comes to content creation. You're not going to make a podcast and all of a sudden shoot to the moon. So I think micro content is even more important than the actual interview, because you want as much of you out there as you can, because YouTube is a cavernous space, folks. It is billions and billions of pieces of content is on YouTube, especially in a crowded space like wrestling.
Right, yeah.
That's why I chose the NWA to talk about, because no one is on YouTube talking about the NWA.
Right. I agree. There is nobody on YouTube talking about the NWA. There was something you said with the micro content. Oh yeah. The tags, the hashtags that you use on them. When I put a video out on YouTube and it asks me to put in the hashtags, it literally says, like, these will not help you get more looks. Like, should I disregard? Like, does it matter? Like, it says that.
Always disregard that. Well, there's a thing down at the bottom of when you post on YouTube where it says tags.
Right.
So that's where you want to put in, like it gives you 500 characters to put in tags underneath your description. So let's say that you had an interview with Thunder Rosa, right?
Right, right.
What I would put in those tags is Thunder Rosa, enter. NWA, Thunder Rosa, enter. Thunder Rosa, NWA, enter. Whatever you think people might be searching for, because those tags are that's what people are searching for. So you want your content to show up.
That makes sense. See,
NWA Power, Thunder Rosa. NWA POWERRRR, Thunder Rosa. Every little tiny variation is going to help you.
should I use all 500 characters? Probably.
Oh, Jesus, you freaking better.
There's our micro content. Ding.
Yeah, man, like that's the thing. That's the thing. And then your description has to be written in a way that all of your tags are in the description as well, because that's how the YouTube analytics make everything work.
Man, it's so complicated.
Yeah, well, it should be. It should be. You're trying to get paid to fucking talk about wrestling for the rest of your life. It should be hard.
You know what's my favorite thing about tags was if you watch NWA Power.
I've seen it once or twice.
Once or twice, we all have. And if you're not watching it, you should, because it's extremely refreshing, and that's a whole nother show on its own. But the tags underneath it are usually like NWA Power, but then it also has AEW Dark as one of their hashtags. And I was thinking, oh, those little bastards, they're so smart.
Exactly. Same thing on mine too. I have the hashtag NWA Power. I have the hashtag NWA Power, and I also have hashtag AEW Dark. I want whatever people are going to be viewing me as possible, like we said before. Like I'm not putting out thumbnails that say, right. Watch this or die. I'm putting out content that people will want to see, but at the same time I'm using whatever I can to get people's attention.
Is it easy to put a clickbait title for your YouTube video?
It's easy for clickbait for anything to work, right? That's how the fake news gets itself over every freaking day, my man. So yeah, it's easy, and yeah, you're going to get a click, but as soon as people realize what it is that they're watching, they're going to go away immediately. You're not going to get subscribers. You're not, I say this all the time, my man. Subscribers mean nothing. Followers mean nothing. What really matters in YouTube and what really matters on social media is that engagement that you have with your audience. Yep. And you are not going to build an engagement with your audience if you lie to them, because they're never going to come back. You're never going to build an engagement with your audience if people are just clicking and then going away. You have to give them a reason to come back and back and back. And that's why NWA Coffee is every day in the morning, because I want to get in your morning routine while you're having that sip of coffee. I want to have it with you.
Excellent. And everybody loves coffee.
Oh man, who doesn't?
Right. I actually did a Putting You Over episode in the morning with Nikita Koloff, and I actually had coffee, because usually I do my shows at night and I'll have some beers while I do my shows. So I did it in the morning with Nikita, and I had a coffee, and it was phenomenal. It was great. So getting your wrestling content in the morning with coffee is something I highly recommend. Ding!
Exactly that. And it's another thing that no one else is doing out there. So you want to be different, you want to be niche, and you want to be unique. I think I hit all of those important factors.
You sure do. You really do. You do hit all those factors, that's for sure. Kayfabe tease.
Yeah.
We're going to see that, relaunched when we come out of here?
Well, it's available now, but I don't really want to make I never try to make a big deal about my merch. I never want to always be like, spend your money with me, spend your money with me. So it is available now, but yeah, man, it's more along the lines of, why am I just selling my own podcast merch? Why not come up with a with a clothing line that I can have, that the top is the 10 pounds of podcast merch, But down below, I can have a wide variety of whatever wrestling topic shirts that I want to have. I mean, there's a fantastic EVP shirt in the AEW font. You know, everyone's an EVP in AEW. Now you can have a shirt that says it as well.
Yeah, why not? I want to be an EVP.
Exactly. Well, you can be. I think the shirt's like $15.99. There you go.
Ding! I love that. I gotta give me one. Oh, they said you're boring. I don't know if you can hear that.
That's not true. It's fake news.
It is. It's fake. Smart Button's fake news. Anyways, Adam, I'm gonna try to transition into the end of the show. Much different than a normal show, because Dave Chris from Impact, who's got a big match coming up on Tuesday, night 1 of Rebellion versus Tommy Dreamer Rhino and his mystery partner, didn't want to show up. He must be training. But anyways, it doesn't bother me at all.
I couldn't tell.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm sure we'll reschedule and he'll be on here to tell me how the Cleveland Browns suck and how, well, we'll get into that. Anyways, end of the show. What I like to do is I like to give the mic to my guest. And so the mic is yours. You can put over whatever you want. You can let us know what you're doing, which you've done a phenomenal job already.
Yeah, but, I think I've talked about myself enough.
Yeah, that's fine. The mic is yours now, so you can talk about whatever you want. But Go ahead, Mr. Rotella.
Well, Mr. Streamer, thank you very much for having me on this evening. I really appreciate it. I'm definitely down to do it again whenever you want. I've spent so much time talking about myself. I think it's time to really get over what the NWA has for your viewing pleasure, my friends. If you have not checked out the 10 Pounds of Gold, which is what I started my whole journey on anyways. So go back, check out that documentary series. It's over 8.5 hours of documentary footage. You see the beginning of Tim Storm. You see the beginning of this rebrand. You see William Patrick Corgan, Billy Corgan, some kind of music guy I think some people have heard of. So he's in it. You see the build to All In. You see that fantastic Cody Rhodes versus Nick Aldis match at All In, which was the main event of All In, my friends. And you see how they went from the NWA being completely off the map to the beginning of NWA Powerrr. And now, if you haven't started watching Powerrr, you have nothing but time to do it. Nope. Start on episode 1, start following me, and let's talk about the goddamn NWA, because the NWA is going to be a thing again in the future, and you want to be on this train right now. I've been on the train for the last 2.5 years. Come chat with me. We will bring you up to date with it. Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Adam, and we'll see you around NWA Coffee tomorrow. Thank you very much. Peace.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Yep. Anyways, that was a great spot with Adam Rotella. 10 Pounds of Podcast. All things NWA. He was great, man. He was everything I expected. And nothing less. But I do have to pee because I had a whole beer in that interview. So I'm going to go pee. I'm going to play a song. And then I'll be back to wrap up, I guess. So give me 1 second. Thanks to Adam Rotella and thanks to Dave Chris. We will get him on. We will reschedule that. I do have all the notes. We'll get him back on. Thanks to Chunks. Thanks to D-Rod for the hosts. Thanks for everybody coming in. But if you guys have suggestions for putting you over, for people to have on discord.io/putting you over, just let us know. And I don't know. Just check out everything. I don't know. Anyways, thank you very much. And we'll see you guys on the flip side.
This guy's called the Standing Streamer. The champ
Dane from Wrestling with Regret, and you're watching Putting You Over.